And then I started having panic attack, and I was like, I couldn't breathe properly, and I started sweating and feeling really sick. And that was probably like the first time I really got hit by proper full-fledged anxiety.
People tend to get lots of physical symptoms, which could be shaking, trembling, your heart could be racing, you could feel restless, quite often you get insomnia, your head can feel a bit funny, a bit like you're in a goldfish bowl, you can feel sick, you can want to go to the loo, you can feel hot, you can feel cold, you can feel clammy, all sorts of different things, and everybody's different, everybody will get a different set of symptoms.
I'm kind of gasping for, well, not gasping for breath, that's a bit extreme, but I'm definitely the polar opposite of like calm and collective and cool, where instead I'm just sort of like in my head a lot.
It makes me feel sometimes that I have like something at the back of my mind, and I can't focus on other things, and it's hard for me to like focus like on the present.
People can be anxious about all sorts of different things. So some people might be very anxious about their health, about getting a nasty disease. Some people might be anxious about their money situation, about losing their job and ending up in the gutter. Other people might be worried about giving a presentation or going to a party. They might be worried about social things. Other people might be worried about something traumatic that's happened to them in the past. Other people might be worried about germs and contamination. There are many. If you can worry about it, somebody will worry about it. Humans are so different.
I used to sort of like live in a state of denial about having anxiety. I have recently started talking to people about it, reaching out, trying to get help from people. It's when you have friends who understand that kind of thing, it's really helpful because it doesn't feel like you're quite so alone in your experiences.
There is evidence that there's more anxiety these days than there has been in the past. And this is a complete mystery. Nobody really knows why this is. We used to think that certain people with a certain genetic profile were more likely to suffer with anxiety than other people. But actually, it's starting to look like that's probably not very much the case, that we're really struggling to pin down a gene that seems to matter.
Yeah, I think my methods of dealing with anxiety has changed. I think before I used to like go out of my way to give myself a lot of time to like think about things, and like I just like always just overthought everything, but nowadays I just like try to avoid overthinking about everything as much as possible.
There are medications for anxiety, and there's lots of research looking at whether they work and how they work and who they work for. The intervention that's been proven in the literature most is called cognitive behaviour therapy, or CBT. That's where you go and talk to a therapist, and what they help you to do is unpick the thoughts and the worries that you have when you're anxious.
Sometimes I just stop thinking entirely. It's just everything goes blank and I stop being able to process anything. Other times my mind will get hooked on a thought. So like if I'm nervous about meeting new people, for example, I'll go through all the different social possibilities in my mind. So I'll be thinking, okay, so what will happen if I do this, or if I do this, or like sort of going to all of the worst case scenarios in my mind.
I do like to think that I've sort of transformed that negative energy behind anxiety into something somewhat positive, which I hope to improve on in the future.
I don't imagine I'll ever stop feeling anxiety at all because it's so ingrained in me at this point, and been part of my life for so long. But I think I'll get better and better at managing it, and I think it will probably get to the point where it really doesn't affect my life at all anymore. At least I hope it will.